Welcome to Chaotic Calling. My name is Starwin. I am the DM for Chaotic Calling and also the open role play on Fridays. And I want to introduce you to our little situation here on Charactermancer creation. This here video is to help you both learn to use Roll20 and Charactermancer while also giving players the rules for our Friday game. So if you're going to skip around on the video, make sure you check out the chapters that have the rules that are very important to follow. If you do not do that, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're coming into this blind, and I would rather not have that happen. However, let's get into it. First, once you pick up the group and you find yourself on this familiar page here, you probably had a chance to read over all this information down here below. Hopefully, you clicked the link down here at the very bottom to get to this very video. And in doing so, you will also get our Discord link, which you need to be a part of in order to voice chat with us, and also our link to the Twitch channel where we do stream. You can leave a follow if you're enjoying the game and get a free gotcha item for joining, stuff like that. There's a lot of fun interactions that we have with the players on Fridays, so more than happy to check up on that, ask the DM what's going on with all that. But let's focus on what we need to do first. So a lot of people, when they get here, they're like they don't know how to enter the game. Well, the one thing you got to do is launch game. I am going to make a quick notation. This isn't really something I'm going to go over, but there are obvious bans, and there was a time restart on this game. But those are information you can dig from the forum. Sometimes I post forum updates to kind of like update rules. So if there's something new down here, I want to take a look to see if that affects you going in. Either way, launch the game. Let's see what happens. And as the lovely webpage loads, my friends, we will get into the next chapter of opening the character sheet. So, once you enter into the game and you're on Discord and you're in our voice chat, the number one thing I do is I have to check your volume. So, like, if your mic quality is terrible, then I can't proceed. But once I verify your mic and I know that you'll be a good voice on our stream, I will give you a character sheet. That's when you're like, Star, can I get a character sheet? And I'll be like, sure, I got you covered, and I'll make that character sheet happen. And fortunately enough, I already had one made. So, as a new player, here's what we do. I kind of went over the steps. So, opening the character sheet, what you need to realize here in the top right, we have icons, right? And the first one is chat. The second one is journal. Click journal. Now you see this little journal, and then you will see it like a name you don't recognize. That's a character sheet that has been assigned to you. Roll20 uses scrambled names, so please understand that these things are not the best spelled. Please feel free to click that, and it will open up the next sheet. Next, we will go through Charactermancer. Once you click Character Sheet tab, you'll get the option to use the Charactermancer. Do not use any of these. Use Charactermancer. Once you do that, you're basically going to be taking a quiz or, filling in the blanks so that Roll20 can help you make your character. So you can read over the little instructions here to help you, but I'm going to try to give you the details as we go and as per our game. For one, custom Origins are banned from Friday, so do not touch that. That is not something we're going to touch. First, you'll want to select your race, and I will also mention that Aracocras have been banned. They are extinct creatures in my realm because nobody likes flying at level 1, except for the person who likes flying at level 1. DMs do not. And then there's a list of other bands like Reborn and stuff that you can find in Tasha's ban list on the front page. But at the same time, we're going to just pick something basic, right? There are some new races out there like the Haragons and Fairies we could pick as well. But we're going to pick a Goblin. Let's go. I feel gobbish today, right? When you are making a character, we would rather you be anywhere from neutral up. So try to be like, we need to be able to get along with each other, and having any evil whatsoever just does not help the party. Like, if you're going to be an evil person, then you might want to rethink coming to this table. We want you to be good in some way, shape, or form. Going down the list here, you'll find all of your abilities that this particular race has available for you. And then once you made sure you selected everything you were supposed to, you can hit next over here. Now, the next thing we need to do for our goblin is select a class. In order to go over spells and things of that nature, I'm going to make him a bard. That should definitely give us a balance of showing you everything that's available. So picking a bard, and whenever you make your bard, I want you to go ahead and pick your skill proficiencies, tool proficiencies, blah, blah, blah. So we're not in starting equipment yet, but that will be coming up. So I don't know, he's acrobatic, he's good with arcana, and he knows how to, I don't know, what's a good thing for a gobbo? Survive, right? He could survive. So he has tool proficiencies, which are his instruments. This is a bard after all. He could play the flute, the lute, and the dulcimer. I don't know. These here are more abilities that you can read over. Please know your class. If you don't, please make sure you read over your class. We will try to help you out as much as we can at the very beginning, but if you've been here a while and you don't know how your class works, well, we're going to have problems. That's all there is to it. Next is the ability score. And here is where things get a little different. So next chapter here will state roll for stats. We want you to roll for your stats. And basically what you're going to do, we're going to put this back on chat here on the top right. Roll 4d6 and drop the lowest. We're going to click that button. And here we go. We got a bunch of 10s and an 8. My rule for Friday game usually states that if you have 2 dump stats, I allow you to reroll, or if it just looks too plain and vanilla, like there's 3 stats that are really dump and there's only 1 strong stat, I might allow you. Please make sure you ask before you reroll. Don't assume that I'm just going to let you have it. But, you know, once you ask and I'm like, yeah, that looks like a reroll, then you'll go ahead and click the entire array, click it again. And then once again, I'll be like, well, you got a 15 and a 16 there. However, there is a 7 and a 9. I will allow you to reroll. So we go again. And here is where I go, okay, you know what? That's good enough. You're going to have to work with that. You got a 16 there, a bunch of 13s. You can definitely multi-class, so you're good to go. So as a bard, we definitely want charisma. I mean, if you want to maximize your efficiency at the very beginning, right? Otherwise, you know, you could make a bad bard if you want. I mean, it is a goblin, is what I'm trying to point out here. Then, let's see here. Bards kind of work with... I guess we could do this, right? Yeah, that was pretty average. And then... there we go. Okay, so what I did is for each stat, you can only put 1 in each row and 1 in each column. So... you know, you can't pick this twice, otherwise it deletes your previous choice. So we got to select that 14, put that at a 13. So make sure you pick a separate number for each one. Best way to do it is go from your highest number to your lowest, in my opinion, and plug them in as you see fit until you're done. Once again, you might want to read over what things do if you don't know already. They do have a lot of details and information for you to go over there. Next up is your background. And going over background, I just want to point out that even if you're picking backgrounds like criminal or knight or something that has a function to it, that there are limitations due to the lore of our Friday game that may not allow it to work. For instance, criminal organization, you're in a new city, you don't know who's crime boss, you don't even remember who your previous life was until later on in the game. Like, you don't have any of that information. Like, you can definitely build towards getting your background back fully, but there are definitely partial methods to your background. But does not mean do not pick one, because background does offer other mechanics like skills and perhaps bonuses to certain stats. So let's see here. We are a bard. We're probably an entertainer, right? It's always entertaining to have a bard. So we'll get acrobatics and performance. So that comes with our thing. Tool proficiency, we just pick bagpipes because why not? Now here's one of those examples by popular demand, because you're not really known here. You may not be able to use this to your advantage. Though, you could probably work it in. This is one of those that are kind of like iffy. But for the most part, something like this may not work initially at the very start of the game. You are more than welcome to roll for all of this stuff here, but keep in mind, I am a DM who would rather see you play out what you actually mean instead of what's on the character sheet. Like, these are guidelines, more or less, so please feel free to use them if you need them, but I would rather you try to be your own person as far as playing a character. Once you have finished doing this, and you do not have to roll if you do not want to, just go ahead and click next. Now, as you can see up there at the top, all of our stats have been filled in. We have hit points, we have suggested abilities that it was telling us about, stuff like that. How would you like to choose your equipment? This is the starting equipment portion. We will choose class equipment. Do not choose wealth because there will not be time in most cases to do that at the beginning of the game. However, due to being level 4 or higher in the milestones, there are probably rewards or bonuses I give you aside from that. Like, there'll be gold that I can get you to start with anyway, or a +1 weapon. Be sure to ask if I don't mention it. But please pick your starting gear. This is just stuff you're gonna have on hand, and just in case something happens, you have something to work with, right? Like, you do not have to be penniless or without a weapon. Like, this is the whole point. You come in the game with these weapons to begin with. Okay, and then just pick out the rest of your equipment according to what you think you need. If you need help picking out equipment, you're more than welcome to talk to the people who are available in voice chat. I'm sure they have opinions they don't mind sharing. Now, the reason why I picked the Bard is because if you pick a martial class, you're not going to see this. So you would just keep going. Like, it would say spells or the arcane are not familiar to you, and then you just go ahead and click next. However, because I picked the Bard, we're going to go ahead and look at these drop-down menus. We're going to pick our cantrips, and then we'll be able to pick our level 1 spells. If you do not know what they do, please read it over here. We can extend our character sheet by doing that. Read here if you need to know what a spell does. Make sure you select it, like say Longstrider. This will update and it will show you what it does. Probably not what we want. We'll definitely pick that. I'm just going to pick some spells, probably not even important. Healing Word. That's actually a good spell, right? Nameless? At any rate, as we continue on, next, after we do that, we do not get a feat. However, if you do pick a human, I do believe you get a feat, so you'll be able to see something different here. So maybe I should have picked the human to show that off, but I think I'll be able to do that at level 4 whenever we level up. Next, pick your character name. I'm just going to name him Alternate Reality. Why not? Because that's what he is. You can start placing your age, your height, your weight, your eyes, your hair, your skin. That's all up to you. I do not care what you look like as far as this part of the thing goes. I will not be looking at your character sheet because, as you may realize, there's going to be a lot of people here, and I'm going to be looking at your token more than your character sheet. As you click next, after inputting all those detailed information for you to keep track of, you will come to the next page here where it will verify, are you sure you want to be a goblin? Is this the class? Is this the abilities that you're okay with? This is the stuff you didn't do. And usually if you miss something, it will have like an asterisk saying you need to go back and check on this. If you need to go back, you can click these buttons up here to get there quickly and see if, like most times, it's the abilities, right? Somebody forgot to put a ability score and then they need to go and plug one in. But after you finish all that lovely stuff, you hit apply changes. And this should complete your level 1 characters. So everything on the character sheet looks correct. We have alternate reality as a level 1 bard as a goblin, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, there's your level 1 character sheet. Now, we do have rules for background and mechanics. I already went over that. So next up is leveling up and rules about multi-classing. If you want to multi-class, I'm not going to discourage it. However, I do suggest you go 5 levels into a main class before switching to an alternate class as a multi. But let's go over on how to do all that in the first place, correct? As you can see here on the character sheet, there are these 4 buttons called Core, Bio, Spells, and then there's a cogwheel. Click the cogwheel. Now you'll see this strange, archaic information page before you. What I need you to do is go all the way down here to the bottom right, 3rd row, all the way at the bottom. There are 2 options here I will make you aware of. Do not click this one, the launch level 1 Charactermancer, unless you are resetting your character all the way. This is a big no-no. Do not touch this button unless you have to fully reset. Most cases, I will give you a new character sheet if you have to recreate a new character, but if for some reason you need to go back to level 1, that's the only reason you should click this. But you can go launch level plus Charactermancer, and this is where we level up. So click this here. Not the top one, the bottom one. And then you'll go back into a similar screen with Charactermancer guiding you once more. Now, as we continue on here, we are going to advance ourselves to the current level is 8 on the time of creating this. So the milestone being level 8, please check with the DM and verify what the milestone is currently at, because the game could have reset it or it could have advanced even further beyond level 8. As you are trying to input how many levels you are, make sure you add level 1 plus the other levels that you gained. So for instance, if we only leveled up to 2, you would leave that as a 1. However, since we need to level to 8, we could change that 1 to a 7. And correct me if I'm wrong, but 7 plus 1 equals 8. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Next, we have our hit points. You can choose to roll, or you can take average. If you do roll, anywhere where there's a 1, I will allow you to re-roll. And then that is all of your hit points. Apparently, we did worse than if we took average, but that's just how it goes sometimes. It's a goblin, I'm sure he's fine. Next, you're going to go through and pick your your archetype, especially if we go past level 3 at this point, right? I will, like for instance, I could tell you already, creation's probably not a good one to pick because one of the abilities have been disabled because of the extra token on the field type thing, and I should definitely go over that at the end of this. We're going to go ahead and pick College of Lore, usually a good basic bard class to pick, right? And then you can read once more what everything does as you're leveling up. And then as you gain expertise, you'll pick what you are expert at. And then continuing down, make sure you select everything that you need. Here you get some more stats and stuff. I'm just picking things at random. And then additional magic secrets, you get to choose 2 spells from anything on the list. Oh boy. Maybe it is kind of cool that I went with the bard so I could show you all this stuff. This is something new to me too, so like apparently I could click that and just kind of like go through and pick the 2 spells I want for this character. So I'm assuming, and I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that all of these are spells that the bard doesn't normally get. Because that's what the lore does. It allows you to go and pick spells that are not on your list. So, for instance, I find Scorching Ray interesting. I'm kind of like scanning above, too, because he is a higher level. We can pick up Haste. Like, those are acceptable in my book. So, there we go. So, he's got 2 spells, Scorching Ray, Haste. Nice. We move on. Now, here's the feature page. This is where you can choose to either take an ASI, that's called an ability score increase. Our little Gobbo could probably use some charisma, or you can also take a feat. So we'll go to his level 8 and pick a feat, right? And you can go through here, select the feat that you want to read about, and then you'll see a description over here what they do. And make sure you meet the requirements. Like this one requires you to be an elf. So if you're not an elf, don't be picking it. But for the most part, most spellcasters want to pick up Warcaster at the very least so they can get advantage on con saves for concentration. But that's just me in particular, right? Next up, we have to pick our other remaining spells. As a caster, you're more than welcome to spend time and do this on your own. I'm just going to go ahead and click things here. It looks like we get... Yeah, we're going to go ahead and select that. Let's get some stuff here. Like, I'm just picking stuff. Don't think these are good picks. I'm just trying to get through the list here. What else can we get? Always a good one. Always a good one. I kind of like catnap. Anyway, yeah, these are not suggested spells that you pick. I just was trying to pick something so I can get through it. Please spend time, read the spells, make sure you understand them, and if you have questions, by all means, please ask. Once again, you'll hit next, and then after doing that, you're done, right? Wrong. Next up, we are going to go over lore, which will be about our excuse me, I'm just all over the place today. So basically in this game you are a victim of being pulled into the ethereal bleed. It is a plane between life and death, and because of that, the longer a mortal soul stays in such a plane, their memories are affected and manipulated and eaten away and taken from them. You somehow escape with the current crew that is gathered on Fridays. This here lore could change depending if we reset soon, but I don't know if we're going to change the concept. I feel like this might be a running concept for Friday, even if we reset. But the ideal is that you start as a blank slate. So you're amnesic, but you're not the only one. You're familiar with the group that's around you. You've been a part of this group since the beginning. The only problem is I want you to imagine an RPG where you've been in a character select screen. We haven't been able to pull you out because you weren't here. But now that you're here, we're going to pull you out. We're going to do your affinity quest. And then you'll be able to kind of like jump in. Like, you might not be fully familiar with everybody just as, you know, you're just joining the table. But I do want you to kind of have that familiarity where you can't be like, I'm scared because I don't know these people. No, these people know you. You've been acquainted with them. So please work with us in that regard. That way we can focus on creating a different story than just dealing with the single isolation of I don't know what I'm doing here and I'm scared. We do not need to go into that direction. But continuing on, that is the lore. And if you like, you're a clean slate, and the best way for you to create your story in this game is as we go. And basically your first week here, you will not be asked to make any history checks or skill checks to relate it to memories. But the more you come back, the more we'll kind of like involve you. And it's up to you as well to prompt me if an event that we just went through is optional for you to learn a bit of your history. And basically what I would like for you to think of is that I want you to have a story in mind for your character. Like, that's perfectly fine. If you want to think about how your character's developed and how he's going to wind up, please start thinking ahead. However, I want you to filter it through me so I can give you all of the lore necessary to create your story. Make it more you. Make it more important. And that's because I cannot stand here and give everybody the lore lesson every week, time in, time out, every time we get a new player. It's impossible. So this is a way for me to treat you to lore while also helping you create your story. And yeah, it's just beautiful that way. Like, it works. It just kind of works. Next up, before we go into creating a token, I'm going to go over the other things, like code of conduct. We at Chaotic Calling would like for you to be comfortable at the table. We would like for everybody to get along. We would like everybody to behave as grown adults who want to play a game together and actually have fun without ruining other people's time. You know, we don't want anybody who is going to spotlight hog. We do not want people who are going to be rude and obnoxious and try to make a joke out of every little thing. Like, that it's funny at first, but it gets a little annoying a little later on, especially whenever I'm trying to stream and be the main content creator here. Don't be creating content that outshines me. That's not very polite, but you know, that's just the way it works, right? So what we want you to do is we want you to come into this table with the concept that you want to be here. You want to keep coming back. We hope you want to keep coming back. And the best way to do that is be on your best behavior. Like, don't get me wrong, cutting up every now and then, having a little fun, cursing off and on, it happens. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. But just be aware of everybody around you. Be aware of how much time you're spending in the spotlight. Be aware if you're cutting people off. Because if you're doing it and you're doing it on purpose and you don't allow nobody else to have screen time, or if you hog a scene, or if you try to force yourself into every scene without considering the fact that if you're not there, you're not there. You got to realize that. Then you're doing a disservice to those around you and yourself. So please keep in mind, we want everybody to get along and that you should all work together to make that happen. I will also say there are certain times within the game that you might be uncomfortable. Something might come up in a scene where it might trigger a trauma. And I will admit, I am not capable of interviewing everybody as soon as they come in and ask them, what are your hard no's? What are your limitations? What are your things that you do not want portrayed in the game? I usually do this for my closed sessions because that is still very important to me. However, I don't have that option for Friday because there are so many players coming and going such that it's hard to sit people down and actually ask that question. So instead, if a certain scene seems a little too provocative, seems a little too heavy or traumatic, like killing of a child or something tragic of a torture, stuff like that, like even beyond that, like we don't intentionally go into those scenarios, but sometimes they might indirectly come out because certain people might not be aware that this is going to lead down a very bad path. Excuse me. So, in order to counteract that, in order to be aware that you're having a moment, we use pineapple as the safe word. You can either say it out loud or you can type it out in Roll20. And basically, like, because I pay attention to Roll20 no matter what. So if I see this, I'm going to turn my attention and I'm going to go, okay. And then I will turn to Twitch and say, look, we have a situation we need to talk about real quick. We're going to go ahead and take a quick little break. We'll be right back. We drop off the stream. We have a conversation with everybody involved. And then we see if we can figure out how we can remediate it. Do we fade to black? Do we retcon? Do we just ignore the fact that it even happened? Or did it even happen at all, right? Once we come to a decision and discuss the situation about how it made somebody feel uncomfortable, we're basically now aware that, okay, that's somebody's hard stop, and we should definitely watch out for that. So that's about the only way I can offer people to be, safe and comfortable. It's my way. I know there are other ways to do it. This is the way we do it here, and so far it's been working out for us, and we hope you can respect that. And please do not be afraid to use pineapple if it is very serious. However, once again, if you're one of those people who are abusing, who are calling out pineapple, but you're just having a gripe about the way somebody's role playing because you think it's not right, that's a different can of worms. And please, we don't want people to use things in a negative manner. Like, don't come after people with pineapple. That's not what it was there for. It was there to make sure that everybody involved was comfortable. Even I have the option to call it as well if a player starts doing stuff that makes me, the streamer, feel uncomfortable. So please mind your P's and Q's. Moving on from there, we will now discuss a wonderful topic here that our very own Mega has posted on our Admiral channel. So as I set up the next scene, we're going to create our token. So I'm going to go to Admiral on my Discord, and instead I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys about it. So there is a link called rolladvantage.com/token stamp. And this lovely page here will help you create a token. Now, basically what you want to do is Google Goblin Bard art or something like that, right? And if you find something here that you like, please be mindful of copyrighted material though. But at the same time, we're going to just, I think we could copy and just paste it here. Let me see if we can do that. Either way, you might have to go here download the image, and then once you download it, you can go here and then upload the image. Once you do all that and save the token, as it were, I'm going to go ahead and just probably use something I already have in my folder. Next, you will go back into your character sheet after you have that token downloaded on your computer. You're going to go to Edit, and you might have to close the character sheet in order to bring this up. Once you see this here, you're going to click to upload, and then you're going to go look for the token, which would probably be the exact thing that I just pushed. Yeah, that's one hot goblin, right? I just got done making a pirate captain on a different game. At any rate, we'll kind of use her for now. And then that's it, right? Now, you can pull your character sheet over by grabbing the name, and then the token will appear. Next up, though, once I see that, the DM is going to have to go in here and edit all this information and save it on his side. But that's it. That's how you use Charactermancer. Once again, if you have questions or concerns or anything you want to ask the DM in general, please be sure to ask in voice chat. We are here to help. And I want to thank you again for joining us here at Chaotic Calling. And take care. Good luck. Have fun. Don't die. Stay away from dragons. Don't get caught by a trap. And by all means, if you're a rogue, do rogue things. You know what you need to do. I know it's going to be spotlight hoggy, but you're going to have to do it. Have a good night, everybody. Wish you luck. Have fun in your game. And please, do you hear the calling? The chaotic calling. Good luck.